Call the meeting to order. Monday, May 15th, 2006, 7:03 p.m. The invocation this evening will be provided by the Reverend George Renkowitz of the St. John Episcopal Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Porter. Would you all please stand? If we may, let's place ourselves in the presence of our Lord. Almighty God, you proclaim your truth in every age by many, many voices. Please direct in our time, and especially at this City Council meeting, those elected and appointed officials of Homestead, where many listen and are affected by their deliberations and decisions, that they may do their part in making the heart of this people wise, its mind sound, and its will righteous. And we pray this now in the name of our God and Creator. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, please face the flag and repeat with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Warren?
Here.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Here.
Councilwoman Bell?
Here.
Councilwoman Gardner?
Here.
Councilman Hodge? Councilman Porter?
Here.
Councilwoman Walden?
Any additions, deletions, or deferrals? None, Mayor. Special presentation, we have a retirement presentation. Officer Charles Lockery, Councilman Porter. Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is a sad day for Homestead Police Department, but obviously, Charlie, it's a great day for you. Another chapter in your career, in your life, and just for the public, I'd like to read some of the things that in Charlie's history with the Homestead Police Department. Charlie Lockett was hired as a community service aide in October 4, 1979. Became a full-time police officer April 24, 1980. Patrolman from 80 to 82, General Service Division Detective from 82 to 87, K-9 Handler from 87 to today. Skip down, Charlie's been given a tremendous amount of accolades from his peers, but he was issued a citation of merit in May of 1989 for his assistance in solving a homicide that occurred in Homestead in November of 1990 for his assistance in saving 7 children in a residential fire. He participated in the POAT, March of Dimes Run, Special Olympics Run, United Cerebral Palsy fundraising, represented the Homestead Police Department and Police Olympics, received a community involvement ribbon again in February 2000 for his work with the community in the National Night Out, issued a police Meritorious Achievement Ribbon with Valor and Gold Stars for participating in over 200 SWAT operations, nominated 8 times for Officer of the Month Award, received the Officer of the Month Award in March of 1985, November of 1991, September of 1997, and December of 1998. Received the Officer of the Year in 1998, and was also honored by the City of Homestead for his Officer of the Month Award in January of 1999 by the Dade County Association of Chiefs of Police, and former Mayor Steve Shiver proclaimed Monday, March 15, 1999 as Officer Charlie P. Lockery Day. And Charlie is going to be well missed. This is just a little bit. I didn't want to continue on for as long as Charlie deserved. But I would like to say, Charlie, that it's a great honor to be up here on the council and be able to say thank you to you for you and your family's contribution to the city of Homestead and your many, many years of service. You will be sorely missed, and I'm sure there's someone that will try to fill your shoes, but I'm not sure they will be able to. But congratulations, and thank you very much for your service. In addition to your big retirement bonus that you'll get, this is a plaque from the chief in the city. Sergeant Retired Charles Lockery, congratulations on your retirement after 27 years of outstanding service to the citizens of Homestead and the Homestead Police Department. 4th of October 1979 to 26th of May 2006, Chief Alexander E. Roll, Jr.
Oh, this is great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Manager, Council. Just seems like a couple weeks ago we were getting ready to play a city basketball tournament myself and the mayor back in the 80s. And it's just flown by so fast. It's really been a great ride, though. But, you know, it used to be when I used to go, I'd sit there and get ready for work, and my kids would sit there and say, "Dad, see you later, go fight crime." It's going to be tough, though, but I'll tell you what I'm going to miss the most is the camaraderie of this brotherhood. It's one you can never forget. And hopefully it doesn't stop, but really I'd like to thank the City of Homestead for giving me the opportunity for serving you for 27 years when I first started in 19. But again, thanks and God bless.
Charlie, I'm quite sure a lot of people in the room, want to say some good things about you, but we go back a long way. I started here in '79 as well, and throughout the years, everyone here can probably say that they had someone that they worked with that, excuse my French, that pissed them off all those years. But I can honestly say that I worked for a guy for 27 years, and he never pissed nobody off. This guy came to work every day, and he just worked hard. He was just not a trouble individual. And you know what? I'm gonna say this very quick, and Charlie probably can elaborate on a little better than I can. But this guy has really put Homestead on the map. What I mean by that is that he probably trained so many police departments with their canine dogs. It's unbelievable. And he's the kind of guy that no one knows that because he hides in the shadow. But I tell you what, about 3 weeks ago, I was at the baseball stadium to a training. And I left the training, and I came by the front of the baseball stadium, and I saw these cars parked out there. I know Charlie was training somebody, but I didn't know who. And I looked at all the cars and everything, and I couldn't identify none of the cars because none of them was in Dade County. They were from Broward and Monroe and everywhere else. And I said to myself, I said, this guy's amazing. I said, a little bit of Homestead has a guy here that's been kept a secret all these years, but he's trained so many departments. And Charlie, if you please, just give me some name of people you trained and departments you trained throughout the years doing K9.
Not that much.
Come on, give me a shot, because I just want people to know this. This is so important.
Well, right now, Dade County, so that's good.
Dade County, okay, Dade County. I can say Monroe because I saw some guys up from Monroe County Sheriff Department. I went from Key West last weekend, and it's just amazing. But this guy is outstanding, and again, you have to commend his wife and his family for putting up with 27 years of this. And when I mean this, I'm saying it very, very gently, because it's not an easy job to work. 7 to 11 and all kind of shifts, and all those years, a lot of people have lost their loved ones, family has split up and everything, but all those years he's been here with Homestead PD. I guess we did something right. He did something right one because they're still here. So Charlie has to commend her and the family for being here after all those years, because not too many of us go through this career without losing a wife, I would say. So again, thank you very much. We're really going to miss you. And I tell you, your dedication, the city of Homestead and the people in the city of Homestead would truly be missed, because this guy's an outstanding individual. And I'm here. Everybody can pretty much attest to that. He's a fine young man. Thank you very much, and we appreciate every day that you spend in Homestead. Thank you, Charlie.
Got some more back over there. Oh, okay. Hold it. Keep over. Crazy man with a camera. Just hold it. Come on, Raoul. Pick it up. Look up at the camera.
Charlie, you're in retirement now. You may, if you practice hard, you may be able to beat him on the basketball court now.
I know it was tough at the time, man. Thank you. But I'm a little older now. Well, I know that she's young, so that means something.
I mean, younger than me.
Mayor, can we do the officer? Can we do the officer of the quarter, since we've got the department standing here?
Yes, the Officer of the Month for March 2006, Officer Nehemiah Coward.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, City Council, Mr. City Manager, Officer Nehemiah Coward is our Officer of the Month for March. Of course, the rest of the command staff is up here, and I'm Captain Tom Foglia. If I could, I'll just go over a few things that he did during the month of March. He handled 90 calls for service, completed 19 reports. He made 1 felony arrest and 13 misdemeanor arrests. The felony arrest was a domestic-related case where a boyfriend tried to use a broom handle on his girlfriend. He was able to catch the individual in the area still carrying the broomstick, so obviously that case was cleared. But most importantly, his misdemeanor arrests are primarily for loitering and open consumption in the city. Nehemiah cares about what goes on in the city and how the city looks. He patrols the areas where people should not be loitering, that may be up to bad things, and also the drinking in public, being intoxicated. And we really try to keep this city clean, and I'm telling you, Nehemiah's, like I said, been there 16 years, he's a senior officer, and he really cares about the city, and to make sure that it's as pleasant as possible. He was nominated by Sergeant Marie Kent, which is his immediate supervisor, and if I could just read a couple comments from her. In addition to the above incidents, Officer Coward conducted numerous traffic details and assisted other police agencies with calls. in the city of Homestead. Officer Coward puts forth an extra effort to patrol high crime areas and areas of concern that are brought to the attention of officers at roll call briefings. He's always willing to help other officers, and as a senior officer has been the acting supervisor on numerous occasions during that month. He's eager to help others and learn from other supervisors. And again, he does an outstanding job day in and day out. This is one of your senior people that someday will be retiring also, but it's with great pleasure he receives our March 2006 Officer of the Month. Councilman Ford.
This is just a small way where the community can give back a little bit to what these officers give to this community, not only the officer, but the family of the officer. And this award package is basically put together by the business community and any concerned citizen that wants to participate in honoring these officers on a monthly basis. But this awards package is, Officer Coward is from... we have an award, the plaque is from Awards Inc. The City Attorney's Office is too long to pronounce. Richard Weiss is $100. First National Bank of South Florida is a $50 savings bond. Community Bank is a $50 savings bond. Tony's Sub and Grill is a free meal of choice. Ferguson's Jewelry is a $75 gift certificate. Ruby Tuesdays is a $25 gift certificate. Global Technologies Partners Inc. is a $50 check. Logos on Old Dixie Highway is a $50 gift certificate. Carl Pelt & Son Goodyear Tires, a $25 value oil change. Homestead Transfer and Storage is a $25 check. Dale Blake from Blake Chevrolet is a $300 value lube oil change, car detail, tire rotating. You'll have a clean car. Captain Car Wash is a $20 value car wash. Evolution, Paul Kruger is a $20 gift certificate, and Mita Jensen is 2 memberships to the Homestead Community Concerts. And this is the plaque that you received presented to Officer Nehemiah Coward for being selected Officer of the Month for March 2006. Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Excuse me. I didn't earn this by myself. There's a lot of people I have to thank for this. One is the chief who allowed me to work for him. Sergeant Kent, who's always there. Lieutenant Kent, who used to be my supervisor. I learned a lot from him. And Mr. Ivy, who started it all by hiring me. So there's a lot of people that I owe this to. Major Kennedy, I'm sorry. You know, he's always there when you need him. You know, you can ask him for anything, and he's, you know, hardly ever says no. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here and the people who helped me get this. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Nehemiah.
Thank you, Councilman.
Supporting to stay up. The next item is the National Public Works Week Proclamation presentation.
This proclamation is really kind of for the unsung heroes that do the work that's not the most glorified, but we couldn't do what we do without them, and we have a much worse situation in our city. But Public Works, this is National Public Works Week, and we have a proclamation for Robert and Julio, and the proclamation reads, whereas Public Works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support and an understanding of informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, streets, and highways, public hearings, and solid waste collections. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities as well as their planning, design, and construction is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I, Roscoe Warren, the mayor of the city of Homestead, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21 through 27, 2006 as National Public Works Week in Homestead, and call upon the citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing the public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. And no truer words have ever been spoken, and you guys are behind the scenes, and congratulations, and finally there's an opportunity to be able to glorify you for what you do. Congratulations.
This award really is, the way I like to think about it, it's really for our crews that are out there. I mean, when you think about it, they're out there 24/7, in the middle of emergencies. They're out there doing the storm events. We're the first ones out, making sure the streets are open for other services to be able to be provided to the citizens. And it's just, it's gratifying to know that they're going to get some recognition. Really, they're the ones that deserve it. And if you see somebody out there that works for the Public Works Department next week, say hello and tell them how good a job they're doing. And if they're not doing a good job, give me a call. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody and especially the mayor and council for this recognition, and we won't let you down.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have the presentation of Safety Award winners for May 2006, and the Vice Mayor will make that presentation. In the meantime, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Bonita Smith from Florida City in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, certainly the flavor of the presentations tonight reiterates once again the quality of city employee that we have at every level here in our community, and it's just, reaffirming once again to see the quality of people that serve us in every capacity every day. Well, a couple of years ago, under the leadership of Councilwoman Waldman, the city initiated this monthly safety award program where we recognize 3 employees each month that are not in management or supervisory positions, nor does this include members of the police department. To qualify for the monthly safety award, the employee must be a full-time employee, must be free from accidents and injuries for the preceding 6 consecutive months, and not received any kind of workers' comp benefit during that period. And the recognition that we're providing tonight includes the certificate of award, the paid day off, a safety badge, and the names posted for recognition in the main lobby bulletin board at City Hall, a cash award from the City Attorney's Office. And the employee of the month that we have here tonight with us for the month of April is Scott Jack from the Water Division of Public Works. Is Scott here? Thank you for everything you do for us every day. Any words?
Just thanks.
Thank you. And two of the award winners for the month of May that are here with us tonight are Dwayne West from the Streets Division of Public Works and Keith Wright from the Electrical Utilities Department. Dwayne and Keith, again, thank you. We appreciate it. The things that you do every day are the things that go unnoticed until they don't get done, and then we notice them. And on behalf of the entire community and the mayor and council, again, thank you for your good work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Item E is the Caribbean Meek Center for Business Quarterly Report. Was Hilda Hall in?
Good evening. I'm Hilda Hall. I'm the Incubator Manager for the Carrie P. Meek Center for Business, the Business Incubator. Last quarter, we had the pleasure of bringing two of our incubator clients with us to update you. This time, I thought I would bring someone that we work with within the community so that she can share her experiences. Just a brief update on the incubator. We're still 100% full. We've offered 23 classes this last quarter, of which 109 people attended. We have added 3 new jobs to the incubator. $492,000 in sales came out of the incubator this quarter. We have assisted with a grant for the Florida City Empowerment Zone for a business, and they were awarded $5,000 in Florida City to start a party business. We submitted a Miami-Dade County general obligation bond request for $3 million for expansion of the incubator. And we've also met with Mr. Willie Taylor from EDA, and he has added his support for the incubator for $1 million if we're able to get other dollars to support our expansion efforts. Our client, Manaki, that came with us last quarter, the clothing designer, if you all remember, her business has grown tremendously, and of course our sales numbers are mostly reflected in her numbers. She's ready to graduate, as we talked about before, and she's looking for warehouse space. And one of her major concerns that she wanted me to share with everyone this evening is that although she lives in Homestead and she wants to stay in Homestead, she's having a hard time trying to stay here because the companies that deliver, UPS and FedEx, their delivery times are not supporting our new businesses. And this is something that we all have to be aware of. If we have new businesses coming in and growing as fast as our incubators are growing, we really need some assistance from these vendors. They're not coming to Homestead as often as they should, and then when they do come, sometimes they forget to stop by us, and it's really causing some problems for her. So if there's any way that anyone can assist us, because we would love to keep this business here in Homestead, and she wants to stay. She's purchased a home here. She wants to be here, but it looks like she may have to look for warehouse space, which is closer, more in Doral or other areas where she can get shipping properly. And the other business that I brought with us last time, which was Syntex Scientific, he has now submitted his 4th patent application, and this is for international, so that he can actually have his product internationally recognized. And he told us to wait and look forward to this summer. Something great is going to happen, and he's ready to share with all of us. And at this time, I'm going to introduce Ms. Lisa Jackson.
Good evening. Councilmen, council ladies, Mayor One, it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Ms. Hall, for inviting me. Basically, as she said, I'm not in the incubator per se, but she's helped us a lot. My name is Lisa Jackson of LJ's Mobile Food Catering, and we actually, if you all pass by on US 1 by Golden Corral, that is one of our buses that we have worked on. Our catering is a concept catering. Basically, we take transit buses that are no longer running on the streets of South Florida and basically totally remodel them, retrofit them, and use them as mobile units so that they are able to cater in off-site locations, video shoots, movie shoots. It's something that we don't have down here currently, and here we are, a resident of Homestead, and we've come up with this great idea. The Carrie Meek Center has helped us out a lot with the guidance of Ms. Hall. We have been able to use the facility for meeting places. We've invited guests to come down so that we actually have an office space there, and we're able to utilize the facility as if it was our very own, using the computers, using projectors. Ms. Hall has also got us in touch with a lot of people we normally would not have known without her. We've talked to Mr. Chris Williams from Dade County Transit, and we are actually working on something where we can actually be part of the transit village, which is going to be something they're doing down in Miami, so that we can actually park our mobile units right down in front of their building, and this is going to house about 2,000 employees. So this is really, really awesome. This is something that we're really excited about. She's also got us in touch with funding, different people who are able to fund us. As you know, with a small startup business, it's awfully hard to get somebody to believe in your idea and someone who will accept, hey, that's a great idea, let's go run with it. But Hilda has helped us out a lot as far as getting us in touch with people who are helping us realize our dream and getting this idea from an idea to a concept to actually a real life thing that what's been our dream. And so far we are applying for the Mom and Pop grant that's being offered by the county. We have received already grant from the South Florida Urban League. We've received lots of catering business, so just getting the word out there, and that's what I thank her for. We've also been able to now, with the grants that we've received so far, we've been able to hire an assistant so that we can try to get this going from step A to B. So I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I'm just really thankful to Ms. Hall and to the Carrie Meek Center for allowing a small business like us here in Homestead, and soon will be known throughout Florida, hopefully. Okay, and you'll have known us when.
Thank you, Ms. Hall, for the quarterly report. It's always a good report. And now we have Ms. Yvonne Knowles, the bronze plaque presentation for National Preservation Month.
Good evening, Mayor Warren, council members, ladies and gentlemen. As Chairman of the Historic Preservation Board, I'd like to introduce to you members of our board. Our Vice Chairman is Mr. Larry Deal. On our board is Dr. Dennis Ross and Ms. Susie Peterson Randolph, hyphenated.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today. May is the National Preservation Month, a coast-to-coast celebration of our nation's diverse and unique heritage. The City of Homestead's Historic Preservation Board joins the National Trust for Historic Preservation and its hundreds of thousands of partners throughout the country to celebrate Preservation Month. There are 16 designated landmarks in Homestead. Currently, half of these have bronze plaques showing their designation. To mark this occasion, the board, along with the assistance of the Community Redevelopment Agency, would like to present bronze plaques to the 8 historic landmarks who, for one reason or another, did not receive their plaque when their property was designated historic. The plaques and their installation are a gift to the property owners. These landmarks are outstanding symbols of Homestead's history, and we applaud the pride and care these owners have taken to maintain their property. I'm going to call out the property owners by name, and as they come up, I'll give you a little brief history of the properties. At the same time, we had a little bit of a glitch. The foundry still has the bronze plaques under not construction, but they're still being formed at this time. So we're giving framed certificates, but the bronze plaques will be given to the property owners within this next week, and the kind, very, very generous contribution of Mr. Rex Olson will allow them to be installed for free. So we thank Mr. Olson for his generosity, and you will see your plaques on your buildings, as God is my witness, before the end of this month. Thank you very much. Okay, our first property, Katie and Rex Olson, would you please come forward? Katie and Rex Olson own the Redland Hotel at 5 South Flagler Avenue. This beautifully rehabilitated structure was built in 1904. Among its many firsts are included first post office, first library, and the first site of the Homestead's Women's Club. Today is a charming bed and breakfast inn and cafe with a wonderful would you say lounge? Lounge. Thank you. Our next property is owned by Mr. Stanley Levine. He is not able to make it, so representing Mr. Levine is Ms. Marie Card. This is originally the First Baptist Church. Today it's called the Sanctuary at Arts South. It's located at 240 North Chrome Avenue. Although the congregation began in 1909, the current structure was completed in 1944. It is one of the most graceful buildings downtown with a pedimented gable and large ionic columns. Our next property representative is Cecil Seymour. I'm not sure if he made it tonight. I'll just give you a brief background on his property. This is the St. Paul Baptist Church at 330 Southwest 4th Avenue. The church was constructed in 1948, and it's a great example of loving hands maintaining an important historic landmark in Homestead with pride and care. The congregation recently had the exterior painted, and it's beautiful, and I hope everybody has a chance to go down to 4th Street and see it. 4th Avenue, pardon me. Our next property owner is Susan Dreyer. She calls and unable to make it, but a quick background on her property. This is 102 South Chrome Avenue, Fuchs Bakery, today Ages and Go Antiques. The original wooden structure built in 1910 was moved to the back of the lot in 1913, and a concrete building was built in the front to mirror it. Fuchs Bakery, as many know, became Wholesome Bakery, the largest in the United States. This is listed in the National Register and was listed in 1996. Mr. Roger Patel. Mr. Roger Patel is the owner of the 815 North Chrome Avenue, Dr. James Archer Smith House. Today it's the Carib Motel. This was built in 1936. This is one of the finest examples of masonry vernacular in the city. It features extensive use of native coral rock with keystone over the front entrance. Miss Marlene Hall, Miss Marlene Hall is one of our newest designations at 217 Northeast 1st Road. The Hall House is built in 1930. It's an early example of wood-framed vernacular houses found in the downtown business district and one of our most recent historic designations. Thank you, Mrs. Hall, for coming. Sherry Whelan, I'm not sure she could make it, but she is the owner of 10909 Northeast 18th Avenue, the Shaw House, built in 1920. Recently designated this past year, this is another fine example of pioneer homestead homes that grew out of the booming agricultural industry in this area. And finally, our beautiful Seminole Theater. Mr. Frank May is here, President of the Seminole Theater Board, and I understand Vice Mayor Juanita Smith, also on the board, is here to represent Seminole Theater Board. The Seminole Theater is located at 18 North Chrome Avenue. This is our only Art Deco structure in Homestead. The theater was originally constructed in 1921, then rebuilt in 1940 following a devastating fire. Hurricane Andrew damaged it extensively and is presently undergoing reconstruction under historic guidelines. As the plaques are at the foundry as we speak, these framed replicas are being presented this evening. Please join me in thanking these dedicated citizens of Homestead who strive to maintain our cultural heritage and the ever-changing landscape of this important pioneer town. all together in one? I think we can. Okay. How do you want to set this up? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Next, we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Mayor?
Moved by Councilwoman Garner.
Mayor?
Councilman Bell.
Thank you. I would like to pull out for discussion item 6B, II, bid 200605, the Washington Avenue parking lot project. I'd like to pull it out for discussion, please.
Would you second the consent agenda? We'll pull that, and let's vote on the consent agenda. We'll discuss that one. Okay? All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Bell?
Thank you, Mayor. I really wanted to give us some further discussion and maybe appeal to my counsel, if you will. When I took a look at the memorandum, which is tab 6, the recommendation, and I really had a problem not only with the whole giving of this, giving the bid to the Reverend Company because of all of the infractions and the $10 million lawsuit, but also this recommendation says, pursuant to the COW item discussion of May 9, 2006, approval of this item by the council on May 15th shall serve to authorize the award of the project work to the Reverend Company as the lowest responsible bidder, except that if the Reverend Company fails to timely execute and deliver to the city clerk the enclosed waiver agreement prior to the time of the convening of the council meeting, the Reverend Company shall be found not to be responsible bidder. And I can go on, and then we have a copy of the agreement. And I wanted to start off with just, giving to anybody in the audience who hasn't been brought up to speed on this item. This item was passed at the Committee of the Whole last week, and the Reverend Company was the lowest bidder. I have a hard time with the word lowest responsible bidder. I think that is incorrect because I don't think that Mr. Munz's Reverend Company has been responsible at all. Also, the enclosed waiver agreement to so-called and supposedly protect the city will not actually protect the city at all. First of all, the item passed 5-2 on May the 9th, and I have stated my objections on May the 9th, but I wanted to state them again for the record. Also, I know a lot of shut-ins are watching this on TV as I've received a lot of phone calls, and I wanted to basically restate my case. Number one, as I said, Mr. Munz's Reverend Company is not a responsible bidder, and it can't be simply because it's stated on a piece of paper. It doesn't make it so, because the behavior, unfortunately, the behavior dictates otherwise. Number two, the Reverend Company's behavior, Mr. Munz's Reverend Company, has been consistently bad as he, and I'm going to go through just some of the violations. Consistently removed the fill outside of the DRI for a period of 6 years. And the DRI is a designated area that the fill is ordered to remain inside, and this was a condition of our Durham permit as well as the contractual agreement with the City of Homestead. That fill was required by the permit and by the City of Homestead and we are the permit holder and we are responsible to keep the fill inside the DRI. That fill was consistently and constantly moved outside that DRI, also violating a written agreement. There was recently, the most recent was over-digging our lake site by as much as 30 feet, causing Durham, the Department of Environmental Regulations Management, to come and shut us down. I have the papers on everything I'm referring to today. The violations we have go back to November the 29th. We have from Durham where we have a shutdown, a cease and desist order on our city. Also, we've been shut down. Also, there's an illegal stockpiling of possible contaminants on our land, which is also a clear violation of Durham regulations, and the city when Mr. Munz's Reverend Company called and asked the city to stockpile any type of materials, he was told no. And I have a paper here dated December the 14th saying that they had permission from the city of Homestead, which they did not. The city told him no. So that is another one. Also, we have falsified surveyors that the Reverend Company's surveyors submitted to us, and then our engineer, the city of engineers, signed off on those surveys, giving them credibility to go back before Durham to get the permit reinstated for the city of Homestead because the permit was due. So literally, our city of Homestead engineer signed off on the survey that was performed by the Reverend Company, and that survey was false. The over-excavated fill we calculated to be worth about $1 million+. There's been no offer to repay that. Also, I have inquiries here from the State's Attorney's Office, from the Florida Fish and South Florida Water Management District on violation of permit conditions. We're being looked at by all these organizations because of this Durham shutdown and because of this very, very, very serious infraction. So now, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as what I believe is law, anything below the 52.5-foot level belongs to the city of Homestead. Now it all belongs to the city of Homestead because upon termination, all of the remaining fill reverted back to the city as per our contract. But anything below the 52.5 feet belonged at that particular time to the city. So anything that was dug below that level, taken and sold, was taking our material and selling it for profit. This was, and as far as I'm concerned, it's just reprehensible. I can't consider anything more than greed, nothing more, nothing less. Now, as a result of all of this behavior, this council was still willing to renegotiate Mr. Munz's original 1999 contract on a 5-2 vote. So, as a thank you for 5 members of this council willing to renegotiate, the Reverend Company sued the city for $10 million because they obviously did not like the contract that was presented before them. Now, last Tuesday, in another 5-2 vote, this council decided that it would be just fine to award Mr. Munz's Reverend Company a $413,400 bid if and only if he agrees to sign an agreement not to use the fact that we have hired him against the court in a court of law. So we basically said to Mr. Munz, will you please agree not to use the fact that we're going to hire you in court if we give you this bid? And he agreed to do that. I felt like I'm in the twilight zone, quite frankly. Now, what is interesting, now, we suddenly think that Mr. Munz's Reverend Company is suddenly going to obey this agreement when we have, and he has broken every other agreement. Now we're going to take a word because he agrees to sign yet another paper. And here it is signed. Another paper signed. So now legally, because he follows the agreement not to use it against us, doesn't mean it won't be used against us. And if Mr. Munz keeps his word and says, I won't use it against you, it doesn't mean it can't be used against us. We are putting our city in peril and in jeopardy in our very own lawsuit. We are absolutely benefiting Mr. Munz's lawsuit by giving him this job because we're justifying the previous actions. It's almost status quo. It can't be that bad if you're giving him $400,000 worth of work, then the infractions can't be that bad, which gives some credence and credibility to the lawsuit. Now, for example, if I'm ordered to give a deposition or anybody else is ordered to give a deposition stating, did your city give a contract to Mr. Munz? The answer, of course, is going to be yes. Ironically enough, this agreement that Mr. Munz signed, saying that he won't use the contract that we give to him against us, is a public document. Anything that happens here is public. So this is public record, so any member of the public can get this. How is that not going to be possibly used against us in a court of law? Even this agenda that this is written on with the agreement, with the minutes stating that he won't use it against us in a court of law, doesn't mean it won't be used against us in a court of law. So, but even his very contract is public record. So everything is public record. Everything can be used against us. This is absurd to me. It's absolutely absurd, and I am appealing to my counsel, and I'm appealing to the city voters, the representatives, to everybody. What we are doing is we are rewarding one man's company for very, very bad behavior. We are blessing bad behavior, and this should not be. One of the council people stated that there was a $28,000 difference between this bidder and the next bidder. Staff overwhelmingly stated we should not be doing business with the Redland Company, not just because of a $10 million lawsuit, but because of the previous behavior. That does not make that person a responsible bidder. And so one of our council members stated that $28,000 was a lot of money. Well, we just recently approved, and here's the newsletter dated April the 7th, 2006, for a contract, not a dead issue, because we just agreed to pay our engineer with taxpayer dollars another $80,000 just for engineering cost because of this one infraction, just because of the overdigging from when the Durham shut down. $80,000. Now, that's just one bill. Not to mention our unknown fines, unknown reinstatement fees, if we're even allowed to reinstate, untold attorney's fees that I promise you are probably going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not to mention the lost millions of dollars, not to mention the value of fill left in the ground that is $10+ million. If we are not reinstated in our contract, our ability to extract our own fill out of the ground, if that is not reinstated because of this behavior, we lose that asset that sits in the ground of $10+ million. I just was listening to the radio a few weeks ago where fill prices have gone up 30–35%. There's a shortage of fill in this community. We have $10+ million, and that was before we calculated the 30% increase sitting in the ground that we may not be able to access. So we want to, I'm trying to understand this. Really, I have been trying to understand this. Give a contract to save $28,000, and I said, I'm thinking to myself, talk about penny wise and dollar foolish. How about penny wise and $1 million foolish? Now, folks, this should not happen. This just should not happen. And I am here tonight appealing to my council to stop this because it is bad for Homestead and it's bad for the taxpayers. It's bad for the city. And you know, I want to tell you, I just have to say this, I do not like being in an adversarial role. It just goes against my grain. It goes against my nature. I sit on boards, I sit on church council, I sit on national boards, I sit on a state board. I'm used to being in a very good role with my counterparts. I really am, and I don't like this. And I very humbly come before my council, very humbly asking my council to please reevaluate their decision. And I'm not here with a haughty, know-it-all attitude, not at all. I really beseech this council to take a look at this. We cannot afford to do business with Mr. Munns. We cannot afford to give him one more contract. We can't afford it even if he did it for free. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I too was personally disappointed at the outcome. And to me it's a basic question. I think the city manager last week in his recommendation made a very good point. They got to the point, if you will, is that he and his staff made a decision that the lowest bidder was not a responsible bidder. And without rehashing 7 years of very serious issues, it would seem clear to me that the majority of the council could recognize, and again, and we were cautioned by the attorney, and I want to reiterate, this has nothing to do with the pending litigation. It has to do with the prior course of action, and while there was some discussion that building a parking lot has nothing to do with operating a rock quarry, the actions under a contract have everything to do in determining whether the proposer is responsible. To me, that's the bottom line. And while it was stated numerous times by some of my colleagues on the council that the manager makes the recommendations and the buck stops with us. Well, I think that's a very good point. The buck does stop with us, and I think that I too would ask that we recognize that this goes far beyond whether or not we're going to award this contract to A, with whom there are issues, or to B, with whom we've had issues in the past. I think Councilwoman Bell made a very good point that, our permit at that fill pit is far from being reinstated. And my personal perspective is that if you put everything else to the side, in other agencies' eyes and other governmental authorities' eyes, that when it comes time to renew that permit at those various levels, they'll look at us and laugh. That if we don't have enough sense to get out of bed with the operator of the fill pit that has caused us to potentially not be able to excavate tens of millions of dollars worth of fill, or $10 million worth of fill, and have the fill soon that we need for our electrical substation and our school site, it's hard not to agree with them that maybe we don't deserve to have our permit. And I would ask the council just to dig deep and think about not only clearly, I think, and the manager stated very clearly, and this council by a 5-2 majority expressed their confidence in the manager a few months ago and gave him a really nice contract that's unheard of in public life. So if we have that much confidence in him, even though we have final say, why not go with the manager's recommendation when there's that much at stake? Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments?
Can I ask a question of staff? Richard, from the attorney's office, what's in this agreement? This agreement was crafted by your office?
Yes.
Okay, so explain the legal ramifications of this, because it's been portrayed as something different.
Okay. What we were instructed to do was to draft an agreement that would make the award of by the council of this contract for the parking lot, the fact that the council has awarded this contract, inadmissible in court proceedings. And we drafted that contract, and we feel comfortable, based upon the agreement that's been drafted, that if the council awards to Redland, that notwithstanding that there's a difference between the fact that something is public versus admissible, and we feel comfortable that it would not be admissible in a court of law based upon the agreement. That's what you asked us to draft, and that's what we drafted.
So your legal opinion is that this is a credible agreement that would withstand the test of court?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Stotts, the question would be the shortfall and the difference of the money. This is a CDGB grant?
Yes, it is.
Who pays the difference? Does the CDGB ask or require that you take the lowest bidder? What is their position on that?
We are allowed the leeway of determining whether or not a bidder is the responsible lowest bidder. If we determine that the lowest bidder is not either responsive or responsible, we can choose to not award the bid to that business and proceed to award the bid to the second low bidder, assuming they are responsive and responsible. Whether the Department of Community Affairs, who gave us the grant, will ultimately agree to pay the difference between the first lowest bid and the second lowest bid can only be determined in their monitoring process. It would be up to us to document why we made the decision, and then up to the Department of Community Affairs in their monitoring to review our documentation and either agree with it, in which case they would pay the difference between the first and second bidder, or reject it as not being adequate, or determine that you could not adequately document it if they didn't agree with the situation, and then refuse to pay the difference between the two bids. There is not a yes or no answer till the end.
So clearly, we could go to the second highest bidder, the third, fourth highest bidder, whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, we could be in line for having to make up the difference.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about, lowest bid, responsible, responsive, all the issues that are out there. And part of the issue that I was going through in my mind, I don't know when there's been a project that has been done for CRA or except for the issue at the quarry where there's been all this problem since day one. And I went back and I asked the purchasing department to find out how many purchase orders / bids were awarded to the two lowest bidders, or the number one lowest bidder and the second lowest bidder. And the Redland Company has been doing business with the city back to, I've got 91, 95, 94, 96, 97, 03, 00. Some of these contracts go from $2.7 million down to $1,850. Total bids were awarded in excess of $8.2 million. And then I looked at and I asked for the same comparison to the Atlantic Civil Company, which they've been awarded one bid in 2000 for $70,900. Now, this thing gets a little cloudy when you start looking at and saying that a parking lot can't be done when that's what has been done in the past. And there's been no clear opinion that's been able to be given to me that the Redland Company would not be able to perform that particular type of a project. That was all I said. And it continues to go to something other than what it is. I thought we were talking about a parking lot or a ground level parking lot. And it always reverts back to a situation that, we've been advised not to talk a lot about it, but it's two businesses going to war with the city in the middle. At the end of the day, they're fighting over the position for who can control the rock. And we sit in the middle. In the settlement agreement, or in this agreement, the city is included in some sort of a suit that Atlantic Civil, Florida Rock and Sand is suing Redland Company and the city of Homestead in another case. So it's very entwined. In the meeting, it was brought up, if there's a concern about the second bidder and it's a concern about the first bidder, throw it out and start over. And you said something that we don't have the time. What's the issue there?
Several issues. This project is funded by the CRA as well as two different grant sources. One is Department of Transportation, the other is the Community Development Block Grant Program. These grant terms are coming to an end fairly soon. We're going to already have to request an extension of the DOT grant now that we are prepared to award the bid and go under contract. And as long as we have the bid awarded and under contract, I feel fairly certain that we'll have no trouble getting DOT to agree to extend the term of the grant. The grant for the Department of Community Affairs ends in December. And they have been very reluctant to extend the terms of grants lately because they've been under great pressure from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to get the money spent, and spent in a timely manner. Now, I'm not trying to say they won't give us an extension, particularly if we throw out all the bids and go out and bid again. I'm just saying that it's a difficult process to get them to do it. Also, we want to get that parking lot built while the busway is under construction, so that that piece of construction in that area is all done at the same time, and creating less disturbance over time to the merchants there. As soon as we finish that parking lot, we intend to begin the one across from the Redland Hotel and the Landmark Hotel. We do not want both of them under construction at the same time, so that we're removing from the parking space numbers downtown both of those lots at the same time. We only want to do one at a time. The longer it is before we start one, the longer it's going to be before we finish the other. Unsaid in all of this, in your comments, has to do with the quality of work that Redland has done for the city in the past. I first became involved with the Redland Company in 1992 when I was assigned here by the Department of Community Affairs following Hurricane Andrew. And as a state employee over the previous 14 years when I was coming in and out of Homestead, several of the projects that were done with CDBG funds were done by the Redland Company. Since I've been here, there have been 2 or 3 projects that the Redland Company has done for the CRA, or were ongoing when I came and have been finished up. And I have to say, from a quality of work, that I was always pleased with the work that was done by the Redland Company, both as a state employee monitoring the quality of the work, and now as a CRA executive director who oversees that construction and in the end has to sign off on that it was adequately done. So I cannot complain about the quality of the work done by the Redland Company. Our concern as the evaluation... That's really the issue. It's amazing that you've got a director sitting here that's building a case for a guy that has sued us, refused to pay us, and we had to take him to court one time, and now he sued us and blaming us for his default to revoke the permit. It's just incredible to me what goes on in this room.
Let's get order. Let's get order.
Mayor, Mr. Porter. I've been saying, Mayor.
I'm just asking questions.
If I may finish, what I was about to say is that all of that aside, the review committee determined that the Redland Company was not a responsible bidder. That had nothing to do with the quality of the work that they had done in the past, but had to do with the current situation with the Redland Company.
And that was a 3-man committee, and there was 2 that voted non-responsive, and 1 that voted it was responsive.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Weiss, last question, and I just want to, from a standpoint of how, by the city, if the city were to award this to the Redland Company, does it hinder our position with regards to any sort of litigation in a separate issue?
No. The stipulation that you asked us to draft would make the award to Redland inadmissible. So the answer to your question is no.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Let me make a few comments and I'll come back to Ms. Bell. This issue has been discussed. A lot of mixed signals have been provided to the people of Homestead, and I'm hoping that I could provide some clarity to it. We're dealing with 2 separate issues. Mr. Porter alluded to the history the Redland Company have had with the city for many, many years. Millions of dollars of projects have been bidded. Redland have come as the low bid. They have conducted the work, and they have done that work in fine fashion. Now, when you consider someone not responsible, do you look at one case or you look at the complete record? In the view of the committee of 3 that looked at the current situation with the field, as the mayor of the city, and I assume as the other ones that voted to give Mr. Munns the bid, I looked at the total record. 99% of the time, Mr. Munns and his company have been extremely responsible. Complete the project within budget in a very fine fashion. Now, we live in America, and when there's a dispute between two parties and they can't come to an agreement, that's where our court system is there to give direction and make a judgment. And I think we've all have made a judgment before this court case is complete to determine who's right and who's wrong. Now, this council did the wisest thing. We terminated a contract with Mr. Munns, and this issue is in court. A judge and jury will determine whether the city is right or whether Mr. Munns is right. But Mr. Munns, as a citizen, as a businessman in this community, have a right to defend himself and have a right to go to court to find justice. Now, a man is innocent until proven guilty. And I hear we have demonized this company, demonized the leader of the company because we have a dispute with him. Well, he has a right to go to court and defend himself and say, city, you're wrong, I'm right. Let a judge and jury make a decision. We have a parking lot that needs to be built. Mr. Munns came in as a low bidder. Mr. Munns, over the history with the city, have built many, many parking lots for the city of Homestead and got a very clean record. A very, very clean record. The second low bidder sued the city, and we have problems with that. Came $28,000 more. The third low bidder, we go with the third low bidder, that's $185,000 beyond the lowest bidder. So I think the majority of this council made the wisest decision. We will go with the low bidder. We have a history with this low bidder. He's done parking lots before. The most recent parking lot was done by Redland Company. He's done many of them. It's a simple job. Has nothing to do with the field, nothing to do with the pit. It's building a parking lot, ladies and gentlemen. And this other issue on this pit, we need to leave it alone. It's in court. We're going to fight it, and the city is going to win. But until that is done, let's not muddy the water with the pit versus this parking lot. And the Redland Company has been in this community for many, 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 many years. And all of the organizations, you got a big job there with Miami-Dade County right now with this new cultural art facility. So come on. We should stop demonizing Redland Company. Let the court make the decision on this field situation, and we'll put it to rest. Mr. Weiss and his team is working on our defense. We're going to win it. I'm confident we're going to do it. But I'm not going to penalize someone because he decided to stand up and protect his right. Any one of us, if we're in Mr. Munn's position, if you think you're right, our democracy says you have a right to stand up and defend yourself and not be ridiculed or some retribution as a result of you doing it. You have a right as a U.S. citizen to stand up for what is right and what you believe in. And there's no harm in that. And I respect the man for doing it. I just believe that the city is right. And that's why we have a firm here to defend us, and they will. But in the meantime, I just think we need to leave this issue alone and move forward with this issue and protect the taxpayers' money and go with the low bid. And that was my position at the committee of the whole, and that's my position tonight. Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you something. I tell you what. First of all, our city attorney, let me make this clear, they do what council directs them to do. If council says, make it happen, they're going to make it happen because they count to 5 too. If 5 members of council said to our city attorneys, make this happen, they're going to make it happen. As Mr. Weiss said, as we were instructed by council, as we were directed by council. Because they're not the policy makers, we are. We must stop using the attorneys as an excuse for our own bad behavior. It will not wash. Number two, difference of $28,000. We haven't even bothered to go to the second bidder. And I think it's very ironic that we want to demonize the second bidder for something that happened 6 years ago that, according to Mr. Shahada, was a complete wash, no harm done to the city. It's very ironic. And I'm not demonizing the Redland Company. I have done nothing to demonize the Redland Company. The Redland Company has demonized the Redland Company. I will not take responsibility for someone else's bad actions. Their own actions will speak for themselves. My job as your councilwoman sitting here representing you is to present you the facts. You are the voters. Don't believe this stuff. And I'm going to tell you something else. Mr. Porter very articulately added up and knew all the facts about every single job that Mr. Munz has done. In spite of the $8.2 million that this city has given of business to Mr. Munz's Redland Company, he still took from us. He still overdug 30 feet, took our fill and sold it. And that's the man. Don't be distracted from the issue. Do not fall for smoke screens. Nothing but a smokescreen. Everybody has a right, and I heard this, we have a right, and this is America. Well, I don't need a court of law to tell me who's right and who's wrong. Durham already decided it. It's done. Also, anybody has a right to do business. Nobody has a right to do business with the city of Homestead. Nobody. Spending taxpayer dollars is not a right. It is a privilege. It is a privilege you earn. Do not fall for that. It's a well-articulated argument, but it falls on its face. This is bad for the city of Homestead, bad. And I try to very humbly come before this council and ask this council to please redirect this issue. This is not healthy for the city. This is dividing us. It's not healthy. But I am not demonizing, and I resent that implication of us demonizing. I resent that implicitly. And as I said before, just because someone has a right to do business, they have no right to do business with the city of Homestead. And I will promise Mr. Stotts, and I've looked into this myself, especially with CDBG block grants, if they know the facts behind the turning down of this person, there will be no problem for the additional $28,000. And have we gone to the next bidder, the next bidder in line, and asked him if he would meet this $28,000? Have we done that? That is something that I would recommend that we do. Or throw them both out and do an emergency bid. Now that the price that was won was out, we're very likely to get that low bid price. We have many options here. Don't be deceived that the only option is to give it to Mr. Munz. That is false. Thank you.
Well, I think that emotions are getting too deeply involved in a decision that should be an economic decision. And when it comes to the taxpayers' dollars, again, our jobs are to protect those dollars and to spend them as wisely as we possibly can do so. I was asked when I asked the city attorneys on what should I base my decision. He gave me an advice of I should base my decision on his past history with the city. And I asked a question: if a company did 10 contracts with the city and they messed up on 1 or 2, is that what I base my decision on? And he specifically told me, if I remember this correct, if I'm wrong, correct me, that is what I should base my decision on. Not a lawsuit, not the field, but specifically on his job performance that he's done for us in the past. And that's why I voted for it, and that's why I would stand and vote for it, because of the history that he have done with the city. Now, it doesn't seem to me that the fight is more so against Redland, but more so for Atlantic. And I refuse to take my opportunities to fight a fight that's not my fight. I refuse to get involved in that fight. Personally, I have to work, I have a wife, I have 2 kids that I need to take care of, and I don't have time to ride around and take pictures of trucks and all these things to prove that somebody's doing things, because I have a life that I have to live. But thank you. So what I'm saying is, what's going on is very concerning to me, because we seem like we're trying to fight a fight that's, again, it's not our fight, and our concern should be whether or not a company can perform the job. And as a majority feels that this company can perform the job. And I really want to say that we should not be I want to put it in the right words, because it seems like this subject is so very sensitive, but it seems like we should not be so emotional about this issue, because of the fact that there is a company that has performed and there's a company that has not performed. And what really bothers me most about the company that has not the history and has not made the performance is, why would you spend your own personal dollars to pay for an attorney to create a case that has no business of your own? I mean, that would concern me. I mean, if there's a company that's in a contract and I'm not part of that contract, yeah, I want to be part of that contract, but I'm not, and I'm paying for an attorney to try and create issues so I can be part of that contract, or I can win that contract, that's where I have my problem. That's what I have my problem. Because I should not be getting in other people's business with my attorney and creating issues when there really probably are no issues at all. So if I'm going to spend my money on an attorney of an issue that I do not have, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. That's like me coming to your house and telling you, you pay the mortgage, but I'm going to sleep in whatever room I want to. And that's not right. You don't do that. You don't do that. And I'm going to stand on my decision. I'm not going to change my decision. And November the whatever date in 2007, whenever it is, help me be gone. Help me be gone. Do all you can do. I'm telling you right here, right now, do all that you can do. Because I refuse to sit here and let someone take advantage of a situation that not is. Okay? And I know what I said. I know it's not proper English. I'm saying it the way I want to say it. Because this is way too much. This is an issue that should not even occur. It should not even be. And we're getting too involved. We're getting too taking our personal issues to something that should not even impact our decision on this council. We need to leave personal. When we come here on this council, we should look at economic and what will best provide for our citizens. And believe it or not, if we don't get that, listen to me, we have two utility projects that need to be done. And it can't get done until that field gets freed up, or we have to go and buy it somewhere else.
That's my point.
Well,
that's my point.
The deal is, as long as we keep fighting this field issue, it will never get freed up. So we need to take a serious look at this and stop hurting our community and start trying to help our community.
find a positive solution and not stop being so negative about the solutions. You know, we're being too negative. We're being way too negative, and we need to stop. We need to cut it loose right now and look at the black and white that's written down, and stop creating emotional issues that are not emotional. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly. I want to be real clear. It's not the number of mess-ups, Mr. Hodge. It's the economic magnitude of the mess-up that, in my mind, makes the difference here. And I don't think we're fighting anybody else's battle on any other lawsuit that may be going on. That's my opinion. And I tell you what, you talk about emotion, I'd like to see a little more passion from this community, and we'd be a far better community if, rather than promoting the personal business interests of certain supporters, we had the passion to serve the true good of this community and look deep in ourselves, as you've asked us to do. This will be a far better place.
Amen.
I think it's the magnitude of the mess up. And if you issue a challenge for 07, believe me, the voters know and they are watching. Finally, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Porter, I want to apologize for interrupting your receipt of the question that you were entitled to receive. While I don't agree with the flavor and tenor of how he was getting there, it was your right to ask and receive that question, and I do apologize for interrupting.
No problem, sir.
Kurt, he's your problem, but thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. And finally, we're going to move on with this issue. Let me just make one final comment on it. We're in court, ladies and gentlemen, with the Redland Company with the field issue. And we're not going to get a resolution until that takes place. Judge, jury will make a final determination who's right and who's wrong. And until that happens, we've asked the manager to proceed in finding the most effective way possible to continue work out there that pit, if all possible. But in the meantime, we certainly need to move on and let the court handle it. It's in the court's hand now. There's nothing any of us can do right now but make our presentation for judge, jury, and a determination will be made. Mr. Rice?
Yes, I just would like to clarify one thing that Councilman Hodge said. I think you understand the advice I gave, but I just want to make sure that you do. What I told you I thought was valid for you to consider and that would be legally supportable is the experience of either contractor with the city. What I told you I didn't think was appropriate for you to consider was the fact that a lawsuit is pending. If you feel it's relevant to consider the problems that we've had with the one project, I think that's a rational basis for you to make your decision on. If you want to consider the long-term, the other contracts that were referred to earlier in making your decision by the other bidder, I think that's valid. But the thing that you can't, and I think either way I could defend your actions, but it cannot be based upon the fact that they filed a lawsuit against the city. The facts of the lawsuit are fine to consider. It's the lawsuit itself that you shouldn't consider.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rice. Is there a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to award it to the lowest bidder.
That's second.
Probably moved by Mr. Porter, second by Mr. Hart. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lazar?
No.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Absolutely not.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor Warren? Mayor Warren?
Public hearings?
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Consent agenda?
Yes.
Was that the motion for the consent?
Yeah,
The consent agenda has been approved unanimously.
By Gardner and seconded by Bill.
By Bill.
By Bill.
Balance and concern.
Thank you.
And somebody was out of the room for the consent agenda. Who was that?
I was out.
Mr. Hodge.
Mr. Porter was out of the room, and so was Mr. Hodge.
vote, right?
So it was voted on by the remaining members. Public hearings, ordinances, land use items. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you'd like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons who speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish either to be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning the items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify in any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand. Raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Maybe seated.
The first and only item under your quasi-judicial agenda is tab 11, item A. It's the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Maury Drive LLC for a rezoning from R3 Multiple Apartment District to B2 Retail Commercial District, also granting preliminary plat and site plan approval for a commercial retail center and self-storage facility located on the south side of Southwest 312th Street, Maury Drive, and east of Southwest 162nd Avenue, Farm Life School Road, as legally described in Exhibit A, a 4.22-acre site consisting of 29,000 square feet of retail floor area and 34,800 square feet of self-storage floor area, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
We'll move it subject to the conditions.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilman Bell. Any questions? Any questions from council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Mayor Warner?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is an ordinance for second reading, an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code by repealing Article 1, General of Chapter 11, Emergency Management, and adopting new sections 11.1 through 11.12 of Article 1 of General of Chapter 11, Emergency Management, to provide further necessary and appropriate emergency management authorizations, responsibilities, and procedures, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. This is a second reading and public hearing.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, with a second?
I'll second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any question from council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warner?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the city's fiscal year budget beginning October 1st, 2005 and ending September 30th, 2006 by increasing both the revenue and expenditure budget by $1,165,000, providing for repeal or severability and an effective date. Second reading, public hearing.
Moved by Councilman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge.
One thing.
Mr. Porter?
Could the manager explain what's being used with this amendment to the budget, where it's coming from and what it's being spent for, please?
Yes, Mr. Porter, Mayor, Council. This particular money is going to be used for two projects. One of the projects is the rehab of the PAL gym. They're going to upgrade that. It's been there a number of years, and the use has indicated that we need to do some improvements and repairs on it. Secondly is a mobile command post that we have a command post that we've used quite a bit, especially for hurricane response and also out at the racetrack as we do the security out at the racetrack. That particular command post has somewhat lived its life, and the money will go for that. The money comes out of forfeiture funds, which are seized monies and awarded to the city. And so far this year, if I've got it correct, we have $675,000 over what we had anticipated. The shortfall would come from the fund balance of forfeiture, and just to make the total balance of $490,000 if needed.
Mayor. Yeah, I wholeheartedly support this, and this is wonderful. The PAL gym really needs some serious work. I have a little bit of an ulterior motive in that. Not only does the gym need the work, by the way, but it does a lot of good work for after-school care, after-school tutoring, Project Weed and Seed, and I'm currently working, I've been working now over a year on obtaining a grant so that we can do a truancy intervention program out of the PAL gym. So it's very, very well needed, as well as the command post is very, very well needed. I highly support this.
Mayor, just one final comment, that the command post is also used when the city's deployed to other areas where you had hurricane response, and currently the existing command post really isn't roadworthy enough to really take those trips. So it's not only just used for the racing weekends, but it's also in response to wherever we're needed in the state with response to hurricane-related issues, and we usually get called fairly quick. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Any other comments from council? This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Lasner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes?
Councilwoman Gardner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30, Zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 6, RTH Townhouse District, by amending development requirements applicable to parking standards, further amending Division 7, RCH Cluster House District, by amending development requirements applicable to parking standards, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and effective date. Second reading, public hearing.
Moved by Councilwoman Garner, second by Councilman Hodge.
Mayor,
Ms. Garner?
I just want to go over this and clarify. We discussed this at our last committee of the whole meeting. Our current code for townhouse and cluster home would require 2 covered parking spaces, which would usually be a garage, and we found that caused some problems with some of our smaller infill lots, requiring them to build possibly to 3 stories, and we didn't really want to encourage that. Plus, it did not include storage space. So the new code will require a garage and 40 square feet of storage space, and then depending on how many bedrooms it would have additional parking spaces required as well. So we're really cleaning it up and strengthening it at the same time, because townhouses and cluster homes tend not to have too much room, so we're going to make sure that they have storage.
Any other comments from council? This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gardner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lasner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 17 miscellaneous regulations of the City Code by creating Section 1728, protection of electric power lines, providing for protection of electric power lines from vegetative growth, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, penalty, and an effective date. This is the first reading.
I'll move it for discussion, Mayor.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hodge. Question, Ms. Bell?
A comment. I wanted to assure the audience that this is, and I wanted to restate what I had said last week. These measures are not meant to be punitive. They're meant to be protective. By keeping the lines, the trees trimmed away from the lines, by properly manicuring the trees, by keeping everything done, it will prevent lines from coming down and your power from going out. So this is by all means not meant to be punitive. I know that there were some concerns about that. But this is basically the greater good of the community, because if you have a very large overgrown tree and it's in the lines and then a hurricane comes and it falls into the lines, you've got a whole grid that's going to be out for power. Could be a week, could be how long. So this is just clearly meant to be protected for the city of Homestead. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Any other comments?
One comment.
Mr. Porter?
Just remember, this is code enforcement's responsibility. They're somewhat overwhelmed right now with issues. So, Mr. Manager, if you just kind of pay a little bit of a closer eye to make sure that everything that they're required to do through code enforcement is able to be met. Otherwise, there's no reason to write a rule that we can't even track. So, just be aware that they're a little bit overwhelmed now as we speak. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Porter? Ms. Bell?
I would imagine that our code enforcement trucks are all over the road. I see them doing their job. And I would imagine as they're doing their normal patrolling anyway, and as they're going through the communities looking anyway, if they cite a particular, super overgrowth right near a line, that we may want to, just jot the address down, send them a letter, and so it really wouldn't be, hopefully, not too much extra work. It would be part of their normal duties anyway. Kind of like, when we discussed the truancy issue, the policemen are already doing that anyway. They're already picking those kids up, so we need to have a proactive plan. Well, it's the same way with this. This will become all encompassed into what they already do. And if we need, more officers on the road, then we need to deal with that. But I think that if it becomes a part of their everyday viewing and what they look for, it doesn't have to be an all-encompassing burden. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this was designed to give us a tool. I mean, we may get reports from the community, neighbors that have this, from a neighbor that's growing up, the electric utility workers, the linemen, when they're out there, that it gives us the ability, when they discover this, to go back and have people be responsible for their own issues there where they're growing the trees. And the one way we did it, it gave us a tool in which code enforcement would be the one to do the citation. I think this year we're working into it easily, and we'll be mindful of that, Mr. Porter.
This is a budget year, so I think Councilwoman Bell could look at it from a budget standpoint if you have any impact, need any more people to do it. So this is the time to take a look at it. Any other questions from council? This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gardner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losler?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Last item is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead General Employees Retirement Plan by amending Section 22.5135 Termination Benefits to revise Section Title to defer termination benefits, return of contributions, and to clarify the age at which terminated vested benefits are eligible to receive. Terminated vested participants are eligible to receive benefits, clarifying the amount of said benefits, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, and effective date. This is a first reading.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Porter. Comments from council? Is this a public hearing? Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gardner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losler?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, any public comments? Any comments the public would like to share with us at this time?
Good evening, Ed Powell, 2274 Southeast 27th Drive in Keysgate. Just an issue, I happen to be a ranger out at Keysgate Country Club, and over the last few months there have been a number of outings, and I noticed today there is a flyer on the bulletin board at Keysgate that Homestead Rotary is sponsoring its first annual golf outing, June 2nd, for Homestead Hospital. So there's been quite a number of outings recently for different fundraisers, and Clara, my wife, being president of her chapter, we're glad to see that a lot of Rotarians are jumping on board. It's a great way to raise funds and to give back to the community. Her chapter gives out scholarships. So I just want the city to know that June 2nd, that there will be an outing, and we try to have everybody come out for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I might.
Hey,
Mr. Powell, and I guess Mr. Porter and I are probably going to have to pay $1 fine on Wednesday, since the husband of the president of another club announced the Homestead Rotary's golf tournament. But to elaborate on that, Homestead Rotary pledged, and Jeff, I think it was $100,000 toward the new Homestead Hospital to be paid over a 10-year period. And this golf tournament is one of the activities whereby Homestead Rotary helps to meet that goal. Now, if we don't make a penny, we're still going to write that check for $10,000 each year over the next 10 years. But thank you for bringing that to the public's attention.
Thank you. No other public comments. We go with the business from the city manager. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I have a few items here. One, we are going to be, again, making the announcement that we're going to have to increase the PCA. As you know, if you go to the gas pumps, it hasn't gotten any better. And remember that this is a pass-through. It's not extra money for the city. It's for fuel costs, for producing the electricity. Every electric utility company does this, uses this format. We're about 1.7 million under-collected now at the point, and we had thought that the last PCA would carry us through, and we began to see some reduction. Now it's spiked back up, so we're looking at a $3 increase on the PCA. So we will be making those announcements and advertising that that's going to happen, so it doesn't take anybody, or shouldn't take anybody by surprise. But just to make that announcement, first one, to the public, something we don't want to do, and as soon as we can get back to a recoverable status there with the monies we put out for gas, we'll certainly lower it.
That was going to be, Mayor, that was going to be my question. The minute we recover that, can we just drop that immediately to a much more sustainable level? That's just a lot.
Right. It's tremendous. The issue would be that we have to see where the gas is. What we've tried to do with this is not change it too much, because everybody, it increases or decreases your bill depending on which way you're going there. So instead of having the seesaw and everybody calling in saying, hey, my bill is much more this month than it was last month, I used the same electricity or whatever, we tried to stabilize it. But what we have it at right now is not catching up. So we want to catch up, and then at that point make the decision of how much we want to lower it. It behooves all of us to get it down as soon as we're able to do that. And probably through these summer months, gas will be up anyway. Funny how that happens, but right in the vacation time. But
well, one of my concerns, Mr. Manager, is that I know gas prices are up. We all do, but people are going to suspect that as soon as we come into the summer months, that's when we choose to raise it, and it's going to look like we're capitalizing on peak usage, and I just want to caution us about that, to be prepared and have a good explanation in every city of Homestead electric bill to explain it and justify it very, very, very clearly. I really wish we could find another way, actually.
It's specifically tied to the price of gasoline that we're paying. We're not collecting.
I understand. I understand.
For the public, to reiterate, we're not collecting enough back in regards to the electricity we buy and produce that we get charged. We're not charging it back in terms of the gas. So it's a problem all over, and we hate having to do that. It's just right now it's a necessary thing.
What's the implementation time?
I'm sorry?
What's the implementation time?
Well, we're shooting for June 1st for that, and we'll put it in the electric bills so everybody knows. But I imagine we're going to have, and you will have, the requisite inquiries as to what's going on with that. and it's not a good thing. It's just, just how it is right now. I wish I could find also another way of doing it, but it's painful for all of us to pay those bills. That's for sure.
Mr. Mayor, we do this every summer. We've done this, it's almost every summer that you do this large PCA adjustment when people can least afford it. And I understand it's a necessity. I understand it's a pass-through, but I don't know how many times we've sat up here and had to get just hammered because everybody uses more electricity in the summertime, and it's a double whammy. We wish that we could figure out a way to do it on a monthly or every. I'd rather ride the roller coaster than hit everybody every summer with a.
Well,
that's just an opinion,
but that is something that we can do. It's just that I think as it goes right now, it's all attached to gas more so than the summer, but it always seems to go up in the summer because the gas prices do.
No, Mr. Manager, listen, I'm just, it's a frustrating position, and I sympathize with where you are because I certainly don't want to get into the $5-6 million recovery situation where we found ourselves in years ago. But it's just unfortunate that it ends up being a summertime scenario more often than not because it is the hardest time. Everybody is consuming so much more, and it's just a frustration. I would rather us be able to ride a roller coaster than every summer have this happen. So anyway, I don't need to know anything. You don't have a choice. It's either you deal with it now or you let it get to 2, 3, 4 million and then you deal with it later. It's just the timing aspect.
That's basically how it is. We try to keep it right where we try to keep it along the line so people aren't paying higher PCA in the year where we're recovering more money. We try to keep it lower, but when you do that, you have to increase it when it gets higher, and that's kind of how we've done it. If we'd have had a fairly reasonable or a higher rate all along, then maybe we would be getting money above what we put in there, and then we'd be using it as a cushion. So it's just how we go about that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Lessman?
Thank you. Kurt, not trying to justify it, now this is going to make it any easier, but that $3 increase on the average residential bill in the city is going to mean, another $6 to $9 a month per residential account, on average, based on average summertime bills?
Yeah, probably $3. Our average is around 1,000. Is that a correct statement? $3. You and I.
No, at least I'm above average in some respects.
You're probably 6 or 9, and I'm probably right with you. Yeah.
Right. Now, and another question. That's based on actual consumption. People who pay demand rates businesses aren't going to get that double whammy of the higher bill that are on the demand rate in the summertime, as well as an accelerated PCA, are they? That's based across the board on actual, or no?
I'll let Greg
educate us.
That's correct. They will not. The PCA is just on kilowatt hour usage and not on demand.
Okay. Thank you. That's all, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lessman.
Get on to something.
Well, that's one bad news.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to get out of the box and get it over with.
Let's be quiet tonight. We need it down there.
Since we're all going to go have a sip drink later, probably. Two of them, right? Okay. There is good news. We did receive approval from the South Florida Water Management District for the renewal of our water permit. We've been working on that for a year. So this is something we can check off. But I think more importantly is that the city was commended by the board, meaning the South Florida Water Management District Board, for our cooperation and innovation, and a lot of that deals with reuse. And we have 100% reuse, and I think Mike was there when we built our treatment plant, and the technology that went in, and those kinds of things happened to be the right decision that the city made before I made the decision. I didn't make it, but people before me made the right decision on the technology. And with the reuse, we're a model in the state for that, and we're able to get our permit approved. So that's a good thing. Also a good thing, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue which is in the process of building 2 new stations within the city limits. There will be a groundbreaking, at least at this point, announcement, so look for further announcements on June 6th for the first station, which is Station 66. That's at that Park of Commerce site. And the second one will be down by Homestead High School across on 344. So it's good we're getting 2 more fire rescue stations within the city limits and to help that population growth out east.
Yes.
Again, we won't have another council meeting before the holiday. City Hall will be closed on Monday, May 29th in observance of Memorial Day. Garbage and trash will be collected and remain on its normal schedule. So, enough said.
Did we confirm the allocation from the state with the senior citizen? Was that $500,000 secured?
That's correct. We had $500,000 at the Senior Citizen Center that was awarded to us, going toward our major renovations there. And we had $200 and $250 in the wastewater. Right, infiltration, inflow, $200,000 and another $250. So we came out with about $950,000
Very good.
in dollars from the state appropriations. And I think that, again, I'll just say the announcement on the holiday, garbage and trash will be collected on its normal, I always forget that too, on its normal day. So
That's because our day's Monday, usually every holiday.
Yeah, every holiday. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Business from Mayor and Council, Councilman Porter.
Mayor, I have no business, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Friday, I participated, in the Military Affairs Committee Military Spouses Day, and Sue Newman in the audience and Irene Richardson, we took military wives on a tour of some very interesting, I guess we could even call them artifacts in our city. They've been around so long. We took them to Fuchs Orchids, Art South, and then of course we went to Robert is Here for a milkshake. And we gave them prizes along the way, and they just had a really wonderful time. And it was our way as the Military Affairs Committee of the Chamber of Commerce to honor the military spouses. And we said spouses, hoping we might get some military husbands, but we didn't. We just got all women, and we had a really, really nice time. And it was just a nice time for them to just be away and just to be treated, and they were treated very nicely by us, and it was wonderful. Thank you to RF Orchids, Art South, and Robert is Here. They gave away a beautiful basket, and Art South, Ellie gave away a piece of her pottery, and the 3 names for the different military spouses to choose them. Also, I attended the unveiling of the new cover of the new Homestead phone book that's going to be coming out, where it features the brand new Homestead Hospital, Baptist Health Systems Hospital. It's Homestead Hospital to me. And the cover of the phone book is absolutely beautiful, and it really does the hospital justice on how beautiful the hospital itself is going to be. Also, I was very pleased to attend the Military Affairs Committee Awards Dinner, and I gave a proclamation on behalf of the city to the Military Affairs Committee. Because I was thinking one day that the Military Affairs Committee is so busy awarding everybody else, they're so busy honoring the military, treating our military very, very well, which I want to tell you was one of the items in the BRAC process, which is the Base Realignment and Closure Committee. That process takes a good look on how the military is treated by their community, by their surrounding community. And Homestead was on the top when it came to how well we treated our military. Whether it's, we give them welcoming parties when they come in, we attend their change of command ceremonies, we attend the welcome home ceremonies, and on. And I've just attended so many of those things because I love the military. In fact, my husband and I, we call ourselves the patriotic nerds because we love our military. And I'm such a nerd about it. I have my spare bed in my office is red, white, and blue. Gives you an idea. But so the Military Awards Dinner was really wonderful, and the Military Affairs Committee was so surprised that the committee was honored, because they're so busy honoring everybody else. They were so delighted to be honored themselves, and I was absolutely delighted to be able to do that. I also met with a group this past week that wants to bring a new charter school to the city of Homestead. There definitely is some traffic issues that we have to take a look at, but I love their idea, so I'm going to be meeting and talking with them, and if they would be willing to work with us. Also, I met with another group of a support system for the foster children and foster parents, and it was really, really, really wonderful, and I look forward to working with them as Kids Hope United. So thank you very much, Mayor. That's it. And tomorrow we're all off to D.C. for lobbying, so we'll report back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Garner?
Thank you, Mayor. Today was the annual meeting for the Homestead Center for the Arts, and I knew that the mayor would be too humble to toot his own horn, so just wanted everybody to know, today he was honored at our meeting as a champion of the arts, and it was presented today, and they talked all about him, and he humbly got up and accepted it and answered their many questions. They're very proud that he's very supportive of the arts, and in case you didn't know, Homestead Center for the Arts is a large umbrella for many other organizations. The community concerts, the Homestead Art Club, Seminole Theater, Art South, many different groups. And if you want information, you can go to their website, www.homesteadcenterforthearts.com. They have a lot of exciting things coming up. They do an annual family theater series, and coming up in November will be the Seussical, which is Dr. Seuss. And I'm definitely going to take my nephews to that. I'll give you more information as it comes up because some of them are further out, but as a board member, they've asked me to try to help put out the word, so I'll be continuing to talk to you about what's going on with HCA. And we'll start putting that in the city newsletter, which is being printed right now. It will be here at City Hall, available on Wednesday, this Wednesday, and they will be mailed out then. So look forward to that in your mailbox, and please give me your comments. If you have information you want to put in, contact Lillian Delgado. We're going to start putting all the Homestead Center for the Arts information on the calendar. If there's community events you think are important to be included, we want everybody to know what's going on. People are always complaining there's nothing to do, but we know there's lots to do. And if you don't have anything to do this weekend, why don't you stop out Lausner Park? There's celebrating Military Appreciation Month, and the band of the Air Force Reserve is being brought to Homestead by the 482nd Fighter Wing, and they're providing 3 concerts that are free and open to the public. That's this Friday at Southgate High School. They're going to have the Air Force Reserve Brass Quintet. On Saturday from 3 to 5, they're going to have the Celtic Band, Air Force Reserve Southern Air, and that's going to be at the Prime Outlet Mall. And on Saturday at 7 o'clock in Lausner Park is the Air Force Reserve Blue Notes Jazz Ensemble, and I heard that's going to have really good food. So I hope to see all of you out there, and be a patriotic nerd. Come on out.
Thank you, Councilwoman Garner. Councilman Hodge?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be a little bit unusual today. I wanted to, I know I mentioned earlier the utility substations, where we're at with that. I know we were crunching for a lot of time, and now we're kind of set back a little bit where we're at with that. I know we've been doing some upgrades to the utility facilities, and
well, it's moving forward, and in light of probably the fill that you alluded to, we, in the bid contract, we had the people bid on having to provide their own fill in the event that we were not able to provide it from our pit. Greg, would you like to give any other, I think it's on track.
Sure, we accepted or received 3 bids on substation construction. We are in the process of evaluating those bids right now to award. The bids are real good numbers, a little lower than what we expected actually, so that's a good thing. So we plan on awarding by the end of the week, and we'll begin construction by the 1st of June.
thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is fairly appropriate since we spent the majority of the night in the eye of the storm. I want to announce that the City of Homestead is having a hurricane preparedness workshop this Wednesday evening here at City Hall at 6:30 to help you prepare for this hurricane season. Representatives from the city as well as the County Office of Emergency Management, Homestead Hospital, Florida Department of Financial Services, Red Cross, and FEMA will be available to answer questions and give out tips to not only prepare but survive the aftermath of the hurricane that we all hope does not come this summer. Secondly, we had some discussion at our last council meeting on an issue that I had brought to a committee of the whole meeting, where we asked staff to look into issues of, by ordinance, precluding or establishing some sort of prohibition against vendors who are in current litigation with us from an absolute prohibition of being deemed to be appropriate bidders. I understand that the staff has canvassed other governmental agencies throughout South Florida and have found none that have that, and we believe that staff on its own can have the ability to look at that issue on a case-by-case basis rather than have that absolute bar. So, you know, if that question does arise, that's how we'll deal with it. We'll not draw that hard and fast line in the sand. It'll have to be, it's very fact sensitive. There are some good faith disputes that perhaps should not exclude certain vendors from being successful bidders on city jobs.
Excuse me, Mr. Lodge, I just wanted to make one statement on the hurricane. It's not this Wednesday, it's the following.
Well, this says May 24th. That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a week ahead of myself. That's because we've been here so long tonight. Thank you, Kurt.
I held back.
Wait a minute. It's not, I was going to blame Sheila because my calendar's not here, but she's not here. It's Sheila's fault. Okay. All right. You're hiding. Yeah.
Typical man. You have to blame a woman.
You know, don't read those openings for me. Well, and on that note, Kurt mentioned something earlier about having a stiff drink after the meeting. Well, I know that Councilwoman Bell does not partake.
Double Coke.
But so for those of you, I hope it's not so late that you're not still at home watching, I want to issue an emergency call for the immediate delivery of chocolate to her home in any form, of any variety. Please deliver it as quickly as possible.
Just keep it under $25 so I don't have to claim it.
If you're a friend of Mark, please do him a favor and send chocolate now.
Thank you for that, Vice Mayor. That's true. I was going to have a double Diet Coke.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Just one comment. I just want to thank the manager and his staff for the extraordinary effort and sending the mayor and the council's condolences to the Willie Brown family. I really want to thank you all for that. The funeral was Saturday, and I was able to attend on behalf of the city, and I think the city's contribution in so many ways was very, very appreciated by the family and the community. It was well done, and just want to thank you for the effort. Tomorrow, most of us are headed to Washington, D.C. to lobby on behalf of the city, and we have about $23 million of projects we'll be discussing with different departments of our government, and just ask the community to wish us luck tomorrow. And I think we'll be up there until Thursday, so hopefully we bring back some good news. Thank you all very much.
Mayor Warren.
Yes.
The Main Street license request, it was on the last page under your business.
I was looking here, I didn't see it on this
last page.
Is it? Tab 17. Is it?
It's on the...
It's not on the revised minutes, and that's what I'm looking at. All right, Main Street, Rhythm in Red, White and Blue, temporary wine and beer license requests. Moved by Councilwoman Garner, second by Councilman Porter. Question? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Because it's red, white, and blue.
Thank you all for coming.